tasks that need to be kept off certain official government records. Many of these issues, as well as my involvement in Project Mannequin, will be made public for the first time in this book. I have had constant death threats, and even intelligence people die in very suspicious circumstances hours before arranged meetings with me. However, the mission of getting this highly classified information to the public and exposing the people perpetuating the horrors of this medical project is bigger than me and must be made public. The disregard for human life and suffering compares with the Nazi scientists' genetic and mind control experimentation in World War II. Project Mannequin is a mind control and genetic manipulation program run by the National Security Agency, NSA. Although the NSA is officially the United States government, they run many covert black projects in many countries around the world. The NSA is fast becoming the world's most powerful secret service and is currently taking over much of the global intelligence apparatus. Project Mannequin was started in 1972 and is still being run from a 6-level underground facility beneath the small town of Peasemore in Berkshire, a few miles from where I grew up. This underground base is so secret that the local residents of Peasemore are not even aware it exists. This NSA facility, known in intelligence circles as the AL/499 base, is located 200 feet below the village. There are entrances to the facility at Greenham Common, known as Bravo Entrance, which is now sealed off, Watchfield Military Science College, Delta Entrance, and Harwell Laboratories in Oxfordshire. There are entrances to the base in Lambourne and Welford in Berkshire. The underground base at Lambourne is the Area 51 of the UK with many exotic, anti-gravity aircraft stored there. The project involves the kidnapping of targeted civilians and also certain intelligence and military people. Some of the intelligence and military personnel have volunteered for the project, but many have not. Almost all of the civilian guinea pigs have not volunteered and have been used against their wills. I was sold into the project. Many of the civilians have also been used in the project from young children. The reason is to create programmed sleeper agents using sophisticated electronic hardware-based hypnosis. These individuals are programmed by the NSA to carry out future tasks, set by the NSA, and become hitmen as adults. Sleepers are people who carry out a huge variety of pre-programmed tasks with sometimes little awareness of the medical procedures in Project Mannequin because of advanced memory erasure techniques. A large part of the project focuses on creating espionage agents and assassins who have undergone genetic enhancements, which will be discussed in greater detail in this book. Project Mannequin is actually a type of school I grew up in. I have been trained since the age of 5 at the AL/499 and other military bases around the UK. I carried out my first covert assassination for the intelligence community when I was 16 years old in Brighton. This may sound unbelievable to many people, but a vast amount of evidence will be presented in this book. Most people do not know what the intelligence community actually is. Forget about James Bond movies. Much of the Secret Service apparatus in the UK and US is an occult, pedophile network run by corrupt factions of the illuminated degrees of Freemasonry, 33rd degree and above. Everything in Project Mannequin is organized by the Jewish Kabbalah occult system, using such esoteric methods as numerology and archaeometry, advanced remote viewing. Even the name James Casbolt means valiant, decorated warrior of death and destruction in Kabbalah numerology. You can check this yourself on the Kabbalah calculator available on the internet. My security number in Project Mannequin was X4566-2, and I was a commander of a 5-member unit that consisted of 4 males and 1 female. Even this was based around the Kabbalah, as the 5 members each represented one of the 5 elements: air, water, fire, earth, metal/spirit. Our assassination unit was part of a 15-member Delta team, and the team was divided into 3 units. Each unit comprised of 4 males and 1 female. I was known as Commander Michael Prince. During my visits to the AL/499 throughout my life, I was taken through the Greenham Common Bravo entrance most of the time. Sometimes other entrances were used. At the Alpha entrance in Harwell Laboratories, there is a security area in one of the buildings. This security area is guarded by 2 security officers who are both armed. At this area is an elevator that descends 200 feet to security area B. The elevator has 2 sections, one for personnel and guinea pigs and one for vehicles. The second security area is larger and has 4, and sometimes 5, officers that are all fully armed. Area B has 2 highly secure blast doors that will seal off the tunnel to the AL/499 in the event of an emergency. Security Area B has 2 vehicles in operation that travel back and forth from Harwell to Peasmore. The security officers escort all guinea pigs to, from, and around the AL/499. The medical subjects are drugged when they enter the facility. My involvement with the intelligence community goes back years, as it was planned for, as a child in Project Mannequin, that I would be used as an espionage agent when I grew up. By the time I was 18, I was involved in advanced remote viewing programs at an underground facility in London. By the time I was 19, I was involved in covert MI6 drug trafficking operations working for my father. This was in London between 1995 and 1999. My father, uncle, and grandfather also had mind control issues, and the programming sites in this country where my father was programmed will be discussed in this book. Intelligence-run mind control operations are usually a multi-generational thing, with each generation more easily programmed, as the genetic memory of the horrific medical procedures become more ingrained into the family's genetic makeup. In the 1950s, a genetic bloodline study was started by the NSA based at Harwell Laboratories to find suitable candidates, especially children, to be used in Project Mannequin. From this study, the project was started in 1972, however, my family may have been targeted for mind control before the 1950s. The NSA is very interested in creating genetically enhanced assassins and espionage agents who have certain inborn genetic traits such as psi/psychic ability. These genetic enhancement methods are a continuation of the Nazi geneticists and mind control doctors in the Second World War. As many people know, the Nazis were heavily into the occult, and Hitler was trying to create his Übermann, which is German for Superman. This is a genetically enhanced soldier with heightened senses of intelligence.
Laughing loud all for the love, but baby that's not my rabbit hole. He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole. Spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole.
All right, welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole with Terry Joyce. Welcome to the show tonight. Today is June 1st, 2025, and we are the summer. Well, I guess it's not the summer solstice yet, but I say definitely where I live at, summer has begun. So this is the Super Soldier weekend at Not My Rabbit Hole. I did a live stream on Rumble covering one of Max Spears, one of his early interviews, Basis 31 with Miles Johnston. And I will make sure that I'm going to give that link to that interview as well. When you talk about, oh, by the way, in the beginning, I was, in case you want to go back and listen to it later, at the beginning of the show, and I'm going to leave a link here in the chat. I was playing a reading of James Casbolt's book that was published in 2013. This is a Rumble channel called Joey Deacon, and it's James Casbolt, MI16 Agent Buried Alive, full audio book, Super Soldier Project, Mannequin. And so when he came out on the scene, or maybe a couple of years after he came on the scene, I believe he wrote this book, because I don't know, I noticed James Casbolt and Max Spears together in the Carrie Cassidy interview, which I'm trying to find again. So if anybody finds that interview, let me know, because I'd love to look at it again and go over with it here on Not My Rabbit Hole. But the infamous Super Soldier Summit that happened in Henderson, Nevada. Excuse me. A lot of the people that were part of Revolution Radio and Carrie Cassidy, there was produced by Lorien Fenton. I believe Douglas Dietrich was involved in putting that together. And that event happened before I joined Revolution Radio. But it was that interview. Well, actually, it was really Carrie Cassidy. I stumbled on a video. It was a woman called Ellen. I think it was Erin Green, and she was a Rothschild, and she was talking about how she was in the program, like a super soldier program, and then I came upon Max Spears and James Casbolt. This is my story about how I discovered them. I was watching them just because I was just really curious about it. And then after that, that's kind of how I got into this media. It was like, we all have a gateway and how you come into what you would call the truther community, or, it was the alternative media. And just a little background. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because, it's not really about me. But if you're new to my channel, or if you're actually, because I don't know who's really coming here. So, like, what are we looking at, just in case? I know a lot of people that are probably here tonight. You know who James Casbolt is. He's been missing. There's a whole story about James and Max. Max, unfortunately, has passed away with a suspicious death. And James Casbolt went to prison, and I'm going to get into that. It was some harassment, online harassment, and blackmailing that took place of his ex-wife. And, I'm going to bring up an article and a recap on that a little bit later tonight. But yeah, he wrote a book, and he went to prison, and he's been out for a while. And I did a search on ChatGPT, and I said, where all of his interviews, like, can you give me contextualize what James Casbolt has been up to from 2024 on. And so I documented those things, and I would like to share them with you. First of all, something that's really fascinating is there is a Super Soldier TikTok. Like, it came up on ChatGPT, like a Super Soldier TikTok. And I found some interesting videos, not only of James Casbolt, but of some other people. And so I want to pull that up really quick. Let me share the screen here. And this is fair use. We are just educating the public, trying to, coming back, the legacy of Michael Prince, aka, James Casbolt, and just, discuss, who he is, what happened, and mainly it's like where he's at now. Because I was kind of fascinated by what I found on the internet. So here's the TikTok. All right, let me just make sure that I got that good. All right. Oh, and here, let me give you that. I want to make sure that I give you that where you can listen to the audiobook. Hi, Vera B. Welcome. Here. Okay, so that's the audiobook that you can listen to if you want to listen to the whole audiobook. I haven't listened to it. I just played a little bit of it today, and I wanted to share it with you. And yeah, it's interesting. He's done a lot of interesting interviews, actually, and I'm kind of excited to show you this stuff. All right, so let me go to here. All right, so I found this on TikTok.
2009, I was involved in some operations with some super soldiers in England, and it was actually a crash retrieval, but it wasn't a alien ship, it was a Cessna. A Navy admiral was transporting a reptilian in a small Cessna plane to a meeting, and it was shot down, the plane. And we were at the crash retrieval, and it was actually filmed by a member of the SAS.
Okay.
It was filmed from long distance on a long distance camera, and the reptilian and the admiral were launched out the cockpit when it crashed, and a group of tall reptilians turn up in a ship and retrieve the body, and you can see them on the video footage.
Okay,
it's a group of four.
Okay, so that's a Carrie Cassidy interview, and again, I don't want to play all of everything. But I will put this also in the chat if you, and again, I will try to remember to have this a whole list of everything sourced that I use on this broadcast if you want to go ahead and do more of your own research. But that is where I found it. I'm going to bring up the next one here. Let this go.
Michael Prince, James Casbolt.
It's just a simple matter of I'm using the name, my birth name, Michael Prince.
Right.
It's the name I was given at birth by my biological mother.
So where's the story of the Casbolt? What sort of? Just for the
that was a family I was adopted into, the Casbolt family.
Yeah.
So that was 81. Yeah, I need to go back to the beginning when I was a baby, the origins of Project.
Right.
It was the name of the project I was involved in, born into, effectively, was named Project I, run by the and it was tracking 42 children from different countries. And all those children were brought to a facility in Canada in the Rocky Mountains, underneath a small town called Nelson. And
what countries? Why were they selected?
According to the file information that I've seen, they were selected for because their DNA. The I've seen says that we have what they call blood prime, which it states Anunnaki DNA.
What is blood prime? What specifically are the differences?
I think it's a type of alien DNA, human, alien, hybrid.
Is there any particular rhesus negative, positive, or anything like that?
I think there's the rhesus negative factor in it. Yeah.
So how are the children selected as such? I mean, does that mean there's some means of selecting, is it because from different, at birth, people's bloodline? Checked out by medical records?
I think the mothers were selected, and the embryos were cloned embryos grown in an artificial environment, test tube babies. And I think those, from my understanding, those embryos were then implanted into specific women who gave birth, and then at the time of birth the children were transported to the underground facility in Nelson in Canada. The name of that facility was
Where's Nelson? Is it in Manitoba, Winnipeg, somewhere?
That's a small town in the Rocky Mountains. It's in British Columbia, Canada.
Okay, so I'm playing a little bit of that one, and then here's another one that's out here on TikTok, and I've covered some of this before, but let's go ahead and play this.
I was given diplomatic immunity in my teens. I killed my first man when I was 16 years old. I mean, you all know my history, so you'll say you don't, okay? I was raised in a Jesuit orphanage in Canada, 76 there to 1979. I've been involved with Opus Dei heavily. I've been involved with the Vatican. I was indoctrinated into MI6 SIS at 5 years old. I settled into England in the early 80s with a foster family. That's the Casbolt family. I was indoctrinated into that. I started live operations in my teens, and that was under the cover of drug wars in London and in areas like Brighton. I was given diplomatic immunity in my teens. I killed my first man when I was 16 years old in Brighton.
Okay, and what's interesting too is that interview that Miles Johnston did with Max was also in Brighton, and apparently Max and James grew up together. They were children, and but their narrative is or what their story is that they were put into these programs as children, and now they've been on the scene, coming out and disclosing about the super soldier program. Now, let me reiterate, the word super soldier was created, I think, by Carrie Cassidy, and Max really didn't like to have that name, and a lot of people that came under that umbrella, including Duncan O'Finian, preferred to be called a CIA augmented admit, because I interviewed him one time and I had to introduce him that way. That's the way he wanted to be introduced. He was another person who came out during this particular time, one of the OG super soldiers. Now, the idea of a super soldier is somebody that works with psychic abilities. One of the things that comes with psychic abilities, and bending, or the ability to remote view, bend time and space, possibly experiments with that, as depicted in the film The Men Who Stare at Goats. That's Jim Channon, and there was a part of the military that explored this type of warfare, and so Jeff Bridges plays Jim Channon in the film. And I just kind of want to bullet point that in case you didn't know or exactly what we're talking about here. Now, in this media, it's been fantasized, and there's a whole folklore now to super soldier, the theme and the folklore and everything else. So as everything, maybe there's some truth with fantasy happening all at once. Okay, Misty. Okay. Thank you very much. Is that a reptilian behind me? I'm not seeing a reptilian behind me. But if you do think so, well then, let your imagination go run wild. I don't have any filters on tonight. I'm welcoming everybody. I'm expecting that there's going to be some people in here that might be trolly. But if you don't get too out of hand, I probably will let you stay. So enjoy yourself. Cheers. Because I'm doing this broadcast doesn't necessarily mean that It's my view. All right. So just let me specify that. I am just looking over and exploring something and documenting this phenomena that happened on the internet. A lot of the things that people say or that they have said, I now put in the interesting box. I'm not saying that, oh, I don't believe it at all. I'm not here to I'm not really in the mood to do the regular sarcasm bash show. That was not my goal tonight, but of course I do have a little bit of that in me anyways. Everyone has auras and beings. Well, I don't think that I have reptilian anything around me. So I'm assuming that you are being negative to me about that because I'm not going to have too much of an exchange anymore on that. So if that's what you think, that's what we want to come here and say, enjoy yourself. No, he's not in jail. He is actually out. And that's what I want to show you. He's been out at least for a year. As a matter of fact, he had actually run for office, and they disqualified him because he had a record. But I'm gonna bring this up because this is in the this was reported by the BBC. I want to show that here in just a second. Okay, well, thank you for your observation, but we don't know who you are, Misty. And so really, whatever your observation is, because we don't know who you are, you're just basically a sock in here giving some opinion. I'm not going to put too much credibility in it. I don't think anybody else should either. All right, so let's move on. If you're not ballsy enough to, make a statement as yourself so that you can be given attribution, I really don't take you seriously, especially in the age of the internet. Okay. This is an article by the BBC. It says Mebran Kernow suspects candidate over conviction. Suspends candidate over conviction. A Cornish political party has withdrawn support for a by-election candidate after discovering information about his criminal past he had not shared when selected. Melbjorn Kernow, MK, suspended James Casbolt ahead of Thursday's vote for 2 vacancies in the Newland and Mousehole ward at Penzance Town Council. The party said Casbolt had not told them he was sentenced to 12 years in jail in 2015, 2 years after he wrote his book, actually. The party said Casbolt had not told them he was sentenced to 2 years in jail in 2015 after attempting to blackmail his ex-wife, Hayley Meyer, and harassing former British champion surfer Tassie Swallow and hairstylist Simone Everett. So now I didn't know there were other people included in this. I was just on the impression that he only was convicted for Hayley. Or I don't know if he was convicted for the other 2 things, but they're including this in the article. The BBC has attempted to contact Casbolt for comment. Truro Crown Court heard in 2015 Casbolt tried to exploit $2 million out of his American wife, the Harris, to the Meyer hypermarket business by posting sexually explicit photos of her on porn sites. Casbolt admitted charges of blackmail, stalking, and harassment. Sentencing judge Christopher Harvey Clark said Casbolt was a dangerous man who used modern forms of communication in a sinister and destructive way. Under the Local Government Act 1972, candidates cannot be elected councillors if they have been sentenced to prison for 3 months or more, including suspended sentences. So that is what happened. But he did apparently try to run for office. So I don't know if it said what elected counselors. I guess if he was going to be an elected counselor, The statement added the party's National Executive Committee would complete a review into what happened in regard to Casbolt's selection and how MK can improve such processes in the future. As a result, he has been suspended as a member of MK, and although the ballot paper will show the MK logo and description next to his name, we can confirm that he is no longer an MK out candidate. So... And this was published on August 21st, 2024. So he's been out since then, definitely, for sure. All right, so the next thing I want to do is show you he's written a sequel to his original book. And he is on this show, which is Catch Up with James Casbolt Part 2. It's the Bob Osborne show. And I'm going to put this in the chat if you want to watch the entire... Whoops. That's not what I want to do. If you want to watch the entire video. Okay. All right, and here we go. Let me get this going here.
And this is the more or less the sequel to Agent Buried Alive.
Well, this is Agent Buried Alive too. Yeah.
Wait, let me make sure I did that right. Okay.
And this was shootouts that actually took place in San Antonio when all this was going on, because they were fighting over documents and video footage. That's a UAP.
Oh no! I accidentally banned.
They didn't want it. NS.
Oh, I accidentally banned Vera from my chat. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do the musty person. Misty or whoever that is. Now, okay, I'm going to go and try to bring you back into my chat, Vera. Hold on.
Say?
What, they just allocated them?
No, they were from like, because they're something to the occult, it's like lineage that goes back, the Apollo anyway.
Yeah, goes back to Greek.
Apollyon the Destroyer,
yeah,
and all that stuff. Xerox was a bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? A bit of a insulting name. Like he was a copy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just taking some video of these, which is going to form the basis of the book that should come out and be available this summer.
Bexar County Courthouse, a lot of it took place there because there's an underground tube shuttle there. That's where we actually went to pick up my son's birth certificate. And it said that it was born on a military base.
Right.
As far as we know, it wasn't. But there was a lot of MK Ultra stuff going on.
With you?
Yeah. And me and the baby and Haley.
Already the baby's like put into a program.
Already the baby's in a program the minute it's born, yeah. So, and it's been documented, yeah, that it's born on a military base.
And you don't get any say in that, presumably.
Well, I said to them, why does it say that he's born on the military base? Because as far as we understand, he was born at home.
Okay, so you can see, I'm going to get you unbanned, Vera. I'm sorry. I apologize on that. meant to put that other weird account out, and I'm sorry. I am so sorry, but you know what? We're friends on Facebook and everything like that. So I mean, I'm gonna try to fix it during the stream. I think I can. So you can see where he's on this show, and he is showing his. He has it written down on paper, which I find interesting. And maybe he did it. He was writing in jail. I think that's what he said. Started writing this book in jail, and he wrote it on paper. I mean, that's quite the. I'm assuming he couldn't have a computer. I mean, that's hardcore. People don't write on paper anymore, handwritten like that. So, I thought that was really, really interesting. Vera, I'm gonna fix this. I swear. I'm gonna swear. I swear I'm gonna fix it. All right. And then while I'm still fixing it, I am going to go to how he talks about being involved. There's another interview that he has. I'm going to show some clips of this particular YouTube channel, Bob Osborne, and where he talks about rap. All right. First of all, well, I'm gonna go with this one first, and you'll see he's like white-haired now, but I'm gonna let this play for a little while.
So, James Casbolt, welcome back to Zena.
Hello.
Tell us what's happening.
So we're going to talk about the rapping side of things today, I think. When I got out of prison, I heard about a new thing, a new phenomenon called SoundCloud, that was for up-and-coming rappers that were trying to make it. It never existed before I went into prison. I'd never heard of it before. So I put some of my stuff out on SoundCloud, and I was contacted by the vice president of Atlantic Records, who'd heard my stuff. A guy called, what was his name? Jeff Sledge, his name was. And so he said on the email, it says, "Commander, don't miss your chance to meet with Vice President of Atlantic Records." And it's got it on here. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can get that later.
And then it basically says, "Congratulations on being approved for Director Exec Detroit." And now, the thing is, they wanted me to go out to Detroit, Michigan. And
Is that a big rapping centre, Detroit?
Yes, where Eminem's from.
Right.
And I was like, I love Michigan. I'd love to come out, but there's no way I'm going to be able to get out there because I'm on license. I can't leave the country. And then they sent a second one. They said, well, look, the director exec meetings includes a performance in the studio where you actually perform for the executive in the studio. So they're trying to talk me into it. And then they said you get a meeting with the executive after the performance to get feedback from him. And you get written and verbal feedback from the executive. And you get a film clip of the meeting, and you get a photo with the exec. And the executive you'll be meeting is Jeff Sledge.
Right.
And the reason why it's got it there if you want to film that bit.
So they're trying to talk me round, really trying to get me to
They want
really
to
trying to get
sign
me
you
to
up, do they?
Detroit. Yeah. And I'm like, there's no way I can get to Michigan. There's no way I can get to Detroit.
Yeah.
So I printed this up from the Guardian of Aaliyah. This is the R&B superstar Aaliyah.
Aaliyah. Right.
And this is from the Guardian. The reason why I've printed this out is because it was Aaliyah. Her sound is the R&B blueprint from the Guardian.
Right.
She actually died in a plane crash.
Right.
But the reason why it's relevant is because it was Jeff Sledge that discovered her.
Yeah.
This is from the Guardian. It says Jive A&R, former Jive A&R,
Yeah.
Jeff Sledge remembers her as very intuitive.
Yeah. Why do you think they were interested in your rapping?
Apparently they discovered me on SoundCloud. They discovered that was the way to make it back then.
You were
It was like it had all changed.
Yeah.
They were discovering the next generation of rap superstars on SoundCloud, which is it's a German-based company.
Is that when you were doing it under the name Commander?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I said, "There's no way I can come to Detroit. I'm on license." So they said, "We'll come to you." So what they did was they designed me an album cover which shows me on a spaceship flying over St. Ives.
Is that it?
With me in the spaceship. And it mixtape with him Volume 3, so that's supposed to be me in the spaceship.
Yeah.
And
So St. Ives is, just for the benefit of people who don't know where we are, we're in Zena, which is on the North Cornish coast, a very mystical place.
yeah.
And St. Ives is a couple of miles down from here, so you've got a big connection with St. Ives as well.
Yeah, because that's where I used to rap at the nightclubs in St. Ives. It's a place called the Shire Horse.
The Shy Horse,
Yeah. So it was a big nightclub back in the day.
was it?
Yeah. I think it's shut down now.
Yeah.
So they said, "Well, we'll bring it all to you. We'll design your album cover." And then I'd already finished the album by then, because I'd recorded the album in the Cornish studio, Cube Recordings. So I'd recorded it already. So it was just designing the album cover and getting it out there, which actually happened. So that's what happened. And then it came out on SoundCloud.
Did they actually come over with it, like a
No,
recording
they just did it. They just did it all.
remotely?
They just did it remotely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And the album is out now.
so the album is out now. It's on. Because rap's changed so much. When I was growing up, you'd go into your local HMV or your local record store and you'd buy your favourite album on vinyl. But now all the youngsters, they
Oh, I'm so bummed. I'm looking for your name in my hidden users now, and then I'm relating to Vera again. I feel so bad that I just took her out of my own chat, but I think I'm probably gonna have to spend more time finding you, Vera. I'm just bummed that I have done that to you right now. I'm going to just do a quick glance through, and I'm stopping that video for a minute. Doesn't he seem kind of frail to you? I mean, it's like listening to his voice. He looks like he is just really aged. And I mean, we're all aging. But it just seems like he feels frail to me, and I don't know. I'm just taking note of that. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you guys think? I'm still looking for you, Vera. I mean, I blocked a lot of people. I get trolled a lot if you watch my channel and everything. So but I'm gonna have to. I can't right now. I got to focus on going through the show, and it's unfortunate that I had a troll come in here, and I do that all the time. I always tend to like somehow block the wrong person, and then all of a sudden they're out of my chat. And I was so excited to see you in my chat, Vera. But I don't see you as being hidden. Oh, I'm going to have to figure it out later. Okay, so unfortunately, you cannot ask me questions in my chat because I was a big doofus and accidentally blocked you. But I will figure that out and fix it later. But yeah, I think he looks kind of frail. I'm going to play a little bit more of this, and then I'm going to show you a couple of more
Consume their music from downloading it from clicking a button. So they're just downloading the album. They're downloading it for things I've never heard of, like things called SoundCloud, things called Bandcamp, and things called Audio Mac.
Yeah.
That's what DJ Young C uses.
And DJ Young C, that's the guy you work with?
That's the guy I work with, but he's signed to G Unit Records. He's the DJ to 50 Cent.
Yeah, you told me about 50 Cent. So you've got some of 50 Cent's rapping on your
Yeah, 50 Cent is appearing on my tracks. Saying he's not doing a rap, he's just doing a shout.
Just a shout.
Yeah, Young C.
Yeah.
But it's a big thing for a lad from a little fishing village in Cornwall.
Yeah, well, everyone knows 50 Cent, even I do.
Having 50 Cent on your track.
Yeah.
And
so you just did that through your connection with G.
So yeah, it was all, they basically, Atlantic Record hooked me, because I couldn't travel to Detroit. Atlantic Records hooked me up with G Unit.
Yeah.
So they basically brought it to me. So yeah, I mean it's a big thing for a lad from a tiny fishing village in Cornwall.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much been what your life has been like, isn't it, James?
So
it's no surprising.
I told them I can't travel, I'm on license.
Yeah.
So they'll bring it to me.
Can you leave Cornwall?
Can now, but I couldn't then.
Yeah.
So now, on most of the tracks for my album, 50 Cent appears on it.
Oh, really?
On most of my tracks.
Does he? You have to...
I want to play one of his tracks for you. God, I can't believe I haven't even been on for 15 minutes, really, but I feel like I've been on forever. It's so bizarre. Wow, it's like tripping me out. Okay, like, all right. So I want to play one of his songs, and I don't know if I'm gonna actually keep this on my show, depending if there's a copy, like there's a copyright on it in terms of like the music, because I'm wanting to have like, I might cut it out, or if there is, because this is like on SoundCloud, but I want to just play a little bit of one of his songs. This song is called Trapped, and he talks about it too in this interview. But let me share this here. Let's listen to the song. Hopefully I don't have to cut it out. Here's a sample. Oh, we're gonna have a few commercials.
No way, another part of the story of how I ended up.
This is actually on BitChute, and I think originally it might have been on SoundCloud.
Talk about Silver B, let me tell you about Silver B. Maybe it was like this. Dropped on Silver B, when people trying to kill the G. Dropped on Silver B, when people trying to kill the G. Dropped on Silver B, when people trying to kill the G. on silvery beat. They don't scream for the G, they scream for flesh to be carved from a tree. Gas a chamber or bullet, that's too easy. Torture for love for the eternity. Get sidetracked, I'm back to snoring. There's no such thing as PTSD. Timeline 1, silvery beat. Timeline 2, stopping the beat. A shark rolls back, it's hijacked in the sea. Some things may reveal, so they sure be revealed. Like brewers call it destiny. But still I'm trapped on silvery beat. When people try to kill the G, trapped on silvery beat. When people try to kill the G, trapped on silvery beat. When people try to kill the G, trapped on silvery beat. I just wanted a quiet life, carpet slippers in a quiet wife. Not suitcase nukes and a satellite, special interest groups. Pearl and dynamite. Funny how it goes when you're part of the plan. Funny how it goes when you're Ultraman. Did I mention the plan is me? Did I mention I am the plan? Did I mention I am this me? Did I mention I am the man? When I was 14 years old, broke the mold. All of the neighborhood bullies wanted to break me, so I picked up a gun cause I'm the police. Gonna protect the poor young G. No way, ain't the part of the story of how I ended up trapped on silvery B. Trapped on silvery B, when people try to kill the G. Trapped on silvery B, when people try to kill the G. Trapped on silvery B, when people try to kill the G. Top Texas, in the ride, 00 on the plats, about to catch a case. The Lone Star State is the place. Got to the G with the gag. Decision long ago, what's wrong with that? I'm with Max, but it's not Max B. I'm with power, the power is me. Got the place, then pick up the pace. Swerving lanes, now that I've got about 50 different names. Big short.
It's pretty good. I mean, I like it. So that's a sample of one of his songs. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to a little bit more of that, play a little bit more of that interview that he is doing. And then I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of things that I found on ChatGPT and stuff that's out there. Again, I'm not going to, obviously, I'm not going to play everything. I'm just kind of giving you a palette of what's out there on James Casbolt and what he has been up to. Actually, I would love to interview him if he would ever be so inclined to come on Not My Rabbit Hole. That would be really cool, I think. But right now, I'm just kind of delving into what has happened post being in jail, and a lot of it has happened in this community. And also, I'm going to go into a couple more things later on tonight. We're going to play a little bit of my show that was on Rumble in context to James Casbolt tonight. Some of the things that Max said about James when he did do that Bases 31 interview with Miles Johnston. But for now, I'm going to play a little bit more of this other interview on the Bob O'Brien channel. Hey, where is it? Oh, I closed the window accidentally. Hold on. And, if you do like this broadcast, please do like and share. Oh, here it is. I have it right here. Let me continue here.
You have to pay him for that, I think, does he?
He doesn't rap. He just says G.A. Young C. But it's still his voice. It's very recognizable.
Exactly.
50 Cent's voice.
Yeah.
So
where'd you see it going? You got another album coming out.
yeah, this was like an experimental album. It was just that this was everything put on the experimental board and see how the public would react to it.
Yeah.
And the public reacted very positively to it.
You were telling me in the car coming over about, the different styles of like the gangster rap, and you've got a new technique, which is to do with the fifth involving more sci-fi. Fifth era.
The thing is, it's like I can rap all day long. It's easy to rap, but I want to be a soul and R&B singer. It was on the Guardian article about Aaliyah. It says Aaliyah, her sound is the R&B blueprint.
Yeah.
So how I'm described on SoundCloud is as a rapper and an R&B singer.
Right.
So
because you're bringing,
it's very difficult to sing R&B. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to rap.
And you're introducing different elements into it, because some of the lyrics, are quite esoteric, aren't they, relating to your commander personality and Atlantis and
I even rap about the Ultraman suit, which is a super soldier suit that actually plugs is actually injected into your arm. The suit is actually incorporated into your arm. So I actually rap about the science behind the super soldier suit. That's why I call it the rap's fifth era, because nobody's ever rapped about stuff like this before.
Well, nobody knows about it, probably.
No.
So the Ultraman suit, which I saw an image of the other day, which
it's interesting how his hair's gone white, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to read a little bit of what ChatGPT. I don't know if you guys have ever done a deep research on ChatGPT, but it's pretty interesting. You can put it. It's an option that you can make, and I'm gonna put this in here. There it is in the chat if you would like to watch that video further. But it was interesting to see what ChatGPT had to say about James Casbolt. And I'm going to share that right now. Okay, so, and again, this is kind of like a brief overview. I feel like there can be other videos that can go more into depth about James Casbolt. I'm wanting to take a look back on a lot of these guys and discuss it on Not My Rabbit Hole. And I feel like some of you guys enjoy this content as well. And if you do, please do give a thumbs up and follow me here on Not My Rabbit Hole. But we'll continue with what ChatGPT says. And I said, hey, I did a search, like what has he done? What has he been on since 2024? And then it asked me questions like, are you looking for all video appearances, e.g. interviews, podcasts, personal uploads, or only those uploaded by James Casbolt, Michael Prince himself? It gets more specific. Are you interested in a specific platform, YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, or should I check across all video sharing platforms? And do you have approximate release date of the year of the release from prison so I could filter accordingly? And then I responded with he was released from prison around 2024. And then I asked for video sharing platforms and all that kind of stuff. So this is what came up. And it said new James Casbolt, Michael Prince content post 2024. James Casbolt, also known by the alias Michael Prince, was released from prison around 2023-2024 after serving time for a 2015 conviction, blackmail, and harassment. Since this release, he has emerged in various media. Below is a structured summary of a new video content, interviews, podcasts, personal uploads featuring Casbolt, as well as written coverage and projects in the post-2024 period. Each entry includes the platform date and brief description. And you can see here on the right, this is where all the articles are sourced of what they're saying here. And I'm going to share this ChatGPT link with you all, okay, so that you can, if you want to, if you're doing your own research, your own interest in what's going on, you can check it out there. Okay. And then I'm going to continue here. Okay. So James Casbolt, I read that part. YouTube video series, interviews, and personal updates. Catch up with James Casbolt YouTube 2025, a multi-part video interview series on YouTube hosted by Bob Osborne. And I'm showing you I've been showing you excerpts of that tonight. Rebel Not Taken channel. This series, which began appearing in early 2025, features Casbolt in an informal conversations about his past and current activities. For example, in part 1, posted March 2025, Casbolt discusses being recruited as a child into the U.S. military as a super soldier and writing a book about his experiences while in maximum security prison. Subsequent parts cover a range of topics, Casbolt's music and occult themes in his rap lyrics. Part 3, local anecdotes from Cornwall, Zenner, St. Ives, etc., updates on his upcoming autobiography, and even recollections of violent gang warfare in Reading and St. Ives from his past, part 8. And so here's some of these. This is the different parts of that interview. Casbolt's new creative projects are highlighted as well in part 5 and part 7. I'm gonna watch. I think I'm gonna go ahead and watch all of these interviews. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. Like I said, we're just kind of, hey, Casbolt's returned, and here's what I've discovered that's out there online about him. Osborne notes that Casbolt's book, Agent Buried Alive, Escape from Tartarus, is slated for limited edition publication in summer 2025. The series also promotes Casbolt's music. Casbolt, under his rap name Commander, released a mixtape CD available via Rebel Not Taken's shop, 100 signed copies. Links to the series is available on YouTube. Catch up with James Casbolt Part 1 and Part 1 through 8 were uploaded between approximate March and May 2025. Independent video platforms, Rumble and BitChute. The Extraordinary Life of Michael Prince, James Casbolt, Parts 1 and 2 on BitChute. In 2024, an independent creator compiled a lengthy 2-part documentary-style video on BitChute about Casbolt's life. Part 1 was first published March 31st, 2024. These videos collect older interview footage and testimonies, including segments from Miles Johnston's Basis series, Circuit 2011 to 2013, alongside more recent information. Part 2, also 2024, stitches together multiple segments labeled as Basis interviews, Part 1 through 4, a live talk, and even an apology, part 6, implying it includes a recorded apology from Casbolt. This compilation serves as a retrospective on Casbolt's claims, Project Ibis, MK Ultra, etc., and its turbulent history, packaged for viewers on alternative media. BitChute links Part 1 and Part 2 are available via BitChute platforms. Original content on BitChute, trapped on Syllabi B. That was a little bit, we played a little bit of that excerpt earlier tonight. Casbolt has been sharing his creative writing. A short piece titled Trapped on Syllabi B, authored by James Casbolt under his moniker Commander with a K, was published on BitChute on December 8th, 2024. This appears to be a prose or poetic work by Casbolt. The uploader described it as written by James Casbolt, Commander. An independent podcaster even turned this piece into an AI-generated audio track on the Spirit Force podcast to showcase Casbolt's writing. Casbolt's music and video channels. In mid-2024, Casbolt's musical efforts began resurfacing. I'm sorry, began surfacing. A BitChute user reported James Casbolt found, published July 31st, 2024, with evidence that Casbolt had a YouTube channel hosting his rap music videos. Casbolt's rap music typically uses the name Michael Prince or Commander. One track, Saint Lives to Memphis, was shared via Bandcamp and discussed in the YouTube series. It appears Casbolt has been leveraging independent platforms to share his music. However, some content may have migrated or have been moved. The BitChute poster noted the YouTube channel's existence in 2024. As of 2025, his Commander mixtape and related videos can be found through Rebel Not Taken's channel on the Rebel Not Taken shop. And that's right here. I'm taking it. No exclusive Rumble video interviews with Casbolt himself have emerged post-2024. Most Rumble content about him consists of re-uploads of older interviews or discussions. For instance, Miles Johnston's historic Bases interviews and Casbolt's 2008 Agent Buried Alive audiobook has been mirrored on Rumble. The new Miles Johnston interview about Casbolt, October 24th, was posted on Rumble. See below. And that would be interesting to go over as well. And there is something on an interview about Max and James, which I'm going to play a little bit of that also tonight. QAnon, a podcast and audio interviews. QAnon Anonymous, Agent Buried Alive episode. Casbolt became the subject of in-depth profile on QAnon Anonymous Q&A podcast in 2024. Episode 251, titled Agent Buried Alive, released July 10th, 2024, is a deep dive into Casbolt's life, lore, and legal troubles. The hosts examine his claims of being indoctrinated as NSA super soldier at age 5, discuss his writings such as his 2008 book, Agent Buried Alive, and recount his brushes with the law. The episode is a premium Q&A installment. A free 10-minute sample was published on SoundCloud on July 11, 2024. It provides context and commentary on Casbolt's conspiracy narratives and how they intertwine with real-life actions. And you can see where that podcast and the name of it is. Okay. Journey to Truth podcast with Miles Johnston. This was what I believe I was listening to a little bit earlier today. Journey to Truth podcast with Miles Johnston, Casbolt discussion October 2024. On July 27, 2024, Miles Johnston, the researcher behind the Basis Project, appeared on the Journey to Truth podcast, episode 329, to investigate and discuss James Casbolt and the late Max Spears, another self-proclaimed super soldier. Which is not really particularly accurate there, ChatGPT, because he was not self-proclaimed. That was labeled by Carrie Cassidy. Hey, ChatGPT, let me correct you on that. You know, ChatGPT is not always exactly accurate, but it is a really great tool for research if you use it properly. All right, let me just check the chat and see where we're at here. Oh, nobody's saying anything. Oh, that's too bad. You know what? But here's a referral link to StreamYard. But yeah, I promise you, I won't ban you if you speak. I know I mess up sometimes, but you know it's okay if you want to say something tonight. I'm so sorry, Vera. You're the only friend I had in here, and I freaking banned you. I just how screwed up is that? All right, hopefully you're finding this funny. Hey, I'm not perfect. All right, let me continue. On October 27th, 2024, Miles Johnston, the researcher behind the Basis Project, appeared on the Journey to Truth podcast to investigate and discuss James Casbolt and the late Max Spears, another self-proclaimed super soldier. In the 1.5-hour talk, Miles Johnston revisited Casbolt's background and the origins of the secret super soldier programs he claimed to be part of. The discussion likely covers the veracity of Casbolt's testimony and the fallout from those claims, with Miles providing insider perspective on someone who interviewed Casbolt in the past. This episode was published on both audio platforms on Rumble, Journey to the Truth Rumble channel late 2024, garnering significant views, over 15K on Rumble. Platforms Journey to the Truth podcast, episode 329 on Spreaker, Rumble, October 27, 2024. Other mentions. Casbolt's story has been a topic on various independent shows. For example, conspiracy commentary podcasts and YouTube channels have referenced him in 2024 to 2025, examining the super soldier lore and controversies. One example is a podcast episode by Edge of the Headlights 2024 that discussed Casbolt in a broader conspiracy context, often with humorous tone. Additionally, TikTok clips exist where users highlight moments from Casbolt's old interviews or the new YouTube chats, though these are more fan reposts than official content. And that, I showed a little bit of that TikTok at the beginning of this video. So if you're joining me later on and you want to go back and recap some of the other stuff there, please do, because those TikTok videos were quite interesting. All right. Articles written and coverage post-release. Local election news, town council candidacy, August 2024. After his release, Casbolt briefly ventured into local politics, a move that made headlines in August 2024. I read some of that coverage in the BBC article earlier tonight in the show. So it was revealed that Casbolt had been selected as a candidate for a Penzance town council by-election in Cornwall, representing the party Mebyon Kernow. However, just days before the August 2022 election, Mebyon Kernow suspended Casbolt's candidacy upon learning of his current past, which he had failed to disclose. Under UK law, individuals with recent prison sentences over 3 months are disqualified from serving as councillors, and the party also cited moral reasons for withdrawing support. This story was reported by the BBC on August 21st, 2024, as well as local Cornwall outlets. The BBC article, Mebyon Kernow suspends candidate over conviction, noted Casbolt's 12-year jail sentence in 2015 for trying to blackmail his ex-wife, an heiress, and stalking others. The party stated it was unaware of these facts at selection and removed him as a member once informed. Casbolt did remain on the printed ballot, but without party endorsement. This incident marks Casbolt's first high-profile public activity post-prison, and shows the attempted to integrate into normal life, albeit contentiously, in his local community. Autobiography in progress. And I showed earlier tonight him speaking with Bob Osborne and showing the actual papers that he, the notebook of his writing of his new book that he's wanting to publish. Autobiography in progress. Casbolt has been writing extensively since his imprisonment. As mentioned, he began a memoir behind bars, and now a forthcoming book titled Agent Buried Alive, Escape from Tartarus is anticipated. Described as a sequel or continuation of his earlier work, this book is expected to detail his prison experiences and alleged supernatural adventures, Bob Osborne, who was helping Casbolt publish it, announced that Escape from Tartarus would be published in limited edition by Rebel Not Taken in the summer of 2025. So that book's coming out now. I guess we'll just be on the lookout for it. This indicates Casbolt is actively authoring new material. No public blog posts by Casbolt have surfaced, likely because he's reserving his writings for the book. However, fans and researchers are eagerly watching for his release, given the lot of interest noted in updates. Other written mentions, aside from the news of his council run, coverage of Casbolt in 2024-2025 has largely been in niche or independent media. For instance, the Blank Anonymous podcast published a written synopsis alongside their episode summarizing his fantastical claims versus real crimes. Niche blogs and forums discuss his story in context of conspiracy theories, and some independent outlets like Cornwall Reports on August 20th, 2024 also reported on his aborted political candidacy. At this stage, Casbolt's post-prison public profile is defined by his creative output, videos, music, writing, and commentary in alternative media rather than traditional press interviews. And so that is pretty much there's Instagram. He has an active Instagram with the handle at @DJamesCarter. I wonder if that's accurate or not. Let me double check. That's not correct. I just looked. That's not correct. So I think ChatGPT is hallucinating there. Okay? Because it does hallucinate. The one thing you have to be aware with AI is AI will hallucinate and give you wrong information on something. So you got to double check. On his Facebook page, Casbolt shared a new photo in early 2025. The image can be viewed here. James Casbolt, Michael Prince. So, you can't see that. Let me share that. This is kind of interesting. Let me share that. All right. Interesting, huh? And he posted, he posted this in 2018. What does this show here? His 1.3K followers. He hasn't posted on his Facebook page since 2022. Okay, so that is not current. Stop here. Okay. Get out of there. Okay, I'm going to get out of his Facebook. Hi, welcome to the broadcast. Hi, everybody. This is Super Soldier Sunday weekend. I hope you're all you've been all having a great weekend. I know Contact in the Desert's happening right now, so I don't know if anybody's out doing that. Okay. I asked for podcast title ideas. Agent Buried, Voice Reborn. Casbolt's come back in his own words and rhymes. From Super Soldier to SoundCloud, the James Casbolt Chronicles exploring music, mind control, and modern myth-making. Tartarus Unleashed, the escape, the reinvention, and the stories behind Michael Prince. Unseal, the post-prison files of James Casbolt, fact, fiction, and fallout. Commander Code, inside the music, messages, and mythology of James Casbolt. Titles with conspiracy or psychological ed, mind control and memory, the Casbolt case, MK Ultra, Project Ibis, and what happens when belief meets biography. I love ChatGPT because it can give you like a lot of ideas. For a biographical investigation focus deep dive into James Casbolt life, military claims, criminal record, public reappearance, the double life of James Casbolt. Born in Britain, buried alive. A journey from Cornwall to Project Ibis and back. Behind the bars, Casbolt's return. I use that as one of my titles. I liked that one. All right, so conspiracy theory, culture, and fringe beliefs. Focus Super Soldier lore, MK Ultra, mind control, and the people who believe or investigate them. Super Soldier syndrome. What happens when conspiracy meets identity? The Prince Protocol, secret signals, and the post-truth playbook. Buried Truth, the Casbolt effect, how fringe narratives shape modern mythology. And you know what? That is a very interesting point that ChatGPT is making, because I did kind of find some stuff on Super Soldier Talk with James Rink, and I had done a not my rabbit hole analysis of Oki's weird stories of his documentary into the Super Soldier folklore, and there was a recent broadcast of James Rink recently that if I have time I might show a little bit of, if I can find it. Okay, psychological and socio-cultural lens, focus mental health, identity, construction, trauma, and internet myth-making. Inventing Michael Prince, a case study in digital delusion, fame, and fractured memory. Delusions of disclosure, when conspiracy becomes personality. Weaponized memory, mind control, or mental illness, a psychological autopsy. Well, that's interesting, right? To dissect it. Like, is it mind control? Is it mental illness? Is it psychology? Yeah. This whole genre is fascinating. I would like to pick it apart, which I've been thinking about doing Super Soldier Weekend at least once a month, maybe even twice a month during the summer, and just kind of covering this topic. And hopefully you guys would be interested in that too. And if there's anything that, hey, Hashana, nice to see you. Good morning, UK. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, Deborah. Nice to see you too. Yeah. Let me know if there are topics that, you guys want me to look into. If you find some information that you want me to look into on doing the Super Social Weekends, Not My Rabbit Hole, let me know. Because I'm gathering information, and I'm definitely fascinated, still fascinated by these guys today, from even from the first time I saw them. I'm sure some of you also saw them on Carrie Cassidy's show and all the other shows that they were on. And if you were around during that time when I would say it was like the Super Soldier boom was happening on the internet, then you know what we're talking about here. That's probably why you tuned in tonight. You wanted to make sure that you, like Deborah and Vera, who I accidentally blocked tonight, which I've got it like correct, but it's, again, what can I say, Vera? But we're on Facebook, so that's what really matters, right? We're Facebook friends. Okay, so one of the things that here. I haven't really gone through everything here, so let me go through this a little bit, and then I'm going to show a few more videos. Right? All right. So creative output: art, music, and writing. Focus Casbolt's current artistic works: music, writing, podcast appearances, commando radio, beats, beliefs, and the blurred line between performance and prophecy. From bars to bars, Casbolt's lyrical resurrection through rap and poetry, Escape from Tartarus, the mixtape diaries, the art, myth, and message of post-prison Casbolt, and spoken spells inside Casbolt's apocalyptic lyrics, a symbolic breakdown of music and metaphors. Isn't that fascinating? And then James Casbolt's autobiographical book, MI6, Agent Buried Alive, was published on January 1st, 2013. The book delves into alleged experiences with secret government programs, including Project Mannequin, and discusses topics such as mind control, genetic manipulation, and covert intelligent operations. For those interested in reading the book, it is available through various platforms. Goodreads provides reviews and ratings for the book. Internet Archive offers free digital copy of the book, and the Academia EDU hosts a PDF version of the book. So that is basically what ChatGPT had to say about James Casbolt. And of course, as things continue, just keep, if you use ChatGPT or use any of these, first of all, talking about like using AI when you're researching things. Again, be careful about hallucination. Ask for sources, and then go over those sources when you're looking at them. If you're doing using AI for a search, right? Another thing you have to be aware of is that AI will just spit garble out sometimes, or it will again, like I said earlier, they call it an AI hallucination. So you just got to make sure, like, a lot of it's good and it can be really, really helpful, and especially when doing a podcast, you can contextualize your material. It really helps you tighten things up, or just even like research a topic in general. Okay. Now I heard, because like my beat at Fresno State with my capstone for my graduation was artificial intelligence. So I've really been delving deep into the topic of artificial intelligence and how academia is rolling out in artificial intelligence into the curriculum. And it's quite fascinating on how that works. Well, I went to a convention, right? I went to a meeting. It was like we had immersion day at Fresno State, where there was like Google and OpenAI and all these major companies as well at that media. It was an all-day event of lectures and workshops about bringing AI into the into. There's a ChatGPT EDU now that's being rolled out to most of the colleges and universities that are out there. And one of the things they said was one of the worst platforms to do research on, that's kind of looked down, is Grok. Grok, everybody's like, ugh, Grok. And maybe that's just like, Google snobbery or whatever, but just so you know, Grok isn't necessarily as trustworthy. Okay, yeah. So here we go. I'm going to play. What did I just knock over here? Oh, yeah, I'll go pick that up in just a second. I'm going to play another interview. It's the same guy, but it's just like another part of him talking about rapping. And he actually really does rap in this. Let me pull it up. Okay, here it is. I think this is it. No, it's that one. Okay, yeah. He's out. I love this because you look at the ocean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Hi! Welcome, Australia. Nice to see you, Maria Setti. Okay, so I am going to, hey, you guys, like and subscribe. We're gonna do Super Soldier weekend. You know, this is gonna be a regular staple with Not My Rabbit Hole, especially during the summer, before I go work on getting my MFA in creative nonfiction writing in August. So I've got some time to really explore this topic pretty in depth before everything cranks up and I end up going back to work and school and everything. So here is now this is the Bob Osborne channel, and he's got like 8 parts of interviews of James Casbolt. I'm not going to like go through all 8. I mean, we'd be here all day. And plus, you know, we're only giving like little snippets of what is happening here. And I want you guys to have this link if you want to watch it later, the full thing, or you want to subscribe to Bob Osborne's channel alongside with mine. Okay, here we go.
So we're down at Zen ahead with James. Might do a wrap. All right. So which one are we doing?
So we can start off with the one about the Ultraman with the armour in the arm.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. So let me know where you want to go.
Okay, we're good to go.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Guess who's back, motherfucker? Gun in a clip. Ready to run upon you donuts who taking a piss. Laser on my arm and a gun on my back. Moving through the shadows all dressed in black. Don't fuck with this age of buried alive. Cold-blooded killer in the Spydron hive. Eye in the sky, a counter-revolutionary. Paints his words and pictures seminary. Seminary pictures, commander non-religious. They rep the Quran, the Islamic scriptures. Though I was in swell side with my killers.
It's that village by the sea, and the community turns against you. They hang you by a rope. Witchcraft laws. Yeah, come on. I'm back on the street. I'm gonna rip up the beat. I'm back on the street. The country boys about to do it with the trap crowd.
Okay, so I'm going to go on a little bit more here and then bring us back to this part here.
Sighting, especially in Victorian times. People used to see mermaids. I reckon there's an underground house there that they go down. Just beyond that, that's Vion Cove. That is a fabulous place for swimming in the summer.
This is Bob Osborne.
Or do you want to stand up to rap and sit down to talk, or?
Stand up for both.
Yeah, it's up to you.
It's just I can kind of articulate myself when I'm moving around more.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah, let's
like,
just...
negative energy, not negative, nervous energy when I'm moving
I get it,
around.
yeah, I get it. Yeah, we can stand up just in that corner so it's sheltered.
To a middle class person, that would just sound like lower class nonsense.
Yeah.
But it has much deeper meaning. There's a lot of references to communitarianism there.
What exactly do you mean by communitarianism?
What I mean is there's a lot of references to the traditional nuclear family breaking up.
Yeah.
And we were told about this in prison by social workers that there's going to be a movement towards the nuclear family breaking up.
Yeah.
And very much the traditional nuclear family as it's known, shared amongst the community.
Yeah.
It's about better get acquainted with that pimp slang. Every time we're in a group, they want to say we gang. It's
So you write the lyrics for the raps?
That was from 3-6 Mafia.
3-6. That's
that
their
was
lyric.
That's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
And that was that was one of their songs. But I rapped it because it was very much about communitarianism. That rap about sharing the family.
Yeah.
Which is a big part of the future agenda. This UN sort of agenda.
Mm. Well, we can chat about that sometime. That's a big subject.
It's a big subject.
Yeah.
Talk about it for hours. You could talk about it for hours.
Yeah, that's great.
So,
wicked. Be lucky.
Be lucky.
Okay, so that.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande.
Dr. Grande. I watched. Do you guys watch Dr. Todd Grande? I do. I happen to enjoy his show. God, were you seeing that or no? You saw that, right? That interview, or was just me like staring at myself? Was it just no? You saw that, right? I played that. I hope I did that right. No, yeah. I had it shared. Oh, I'm spacing out right now. What's happening? Okay. Sometimes I can't remember if I shared the screen or I didn't share the screen. Okay. I'm doing everything here. It's a one woman show. One woman show, folks. So I just wanted to highlight some of those videos from Bob Osborne's show. And again, he has 8 different segments or interviews with James Casbolt that you can watch as much as you want. And this is like where let me show you where his mixtapes are. This is where you can purchase his mixtape. Why not? I mean, let's give a plug for him. If you want to buy his, like James Casbolt's music, Commander mixtape, Revenge CD, and he's got swag. He's got a hat. What we got here? There's the mixtape Revenge, and all right. So I'm going to put this here too so you can have that in the chat. Okay. And then I also want to play a little bit of an interview of Miles Johnston. I did some of the book. We did the TikTok song. Okay, yeah. I want to play. This is mainly audio, but I think you guys might really enjoy, especially the beginning of it. I'm going to go back. Okay, wait. I'm going to go to the beginning. Hold on, I'm just cueing it. Okay, here's where it starts. This is Journey to the Truth podcast. And it's episode 329, Miles Johnston investigating Max Spears and James Casbolt origin of Super Soldier Program. I'm going to play a little bit of the beginning of this because I think it's interesting. And this was recorded October 27, 2024. So it's not quite a full year. Here we go.
9th through the 11th, I'll be speaking at the Star Knowledge Conference. I'm really excited about that. Tickets are still available, and that link is below in the description. So without wasting any more time, today's guest is Miles Johnston. He's the founder of the Basis Project. It's like an independent research project. He started it in 1994, and he's kind of been paving the way a long time, disclosing this stuff. And he was one of the people that interviewed Max Spears a lot in the early days, and he was actually, I think you were present for Max Spears' passing, if I'm correct.
I was the one who was contacted about it from the Polish, and I'd just been speaking at Kerry Cassidy's. Him, a very good friend of Kerry Cassidy, and she had her annual conference in England, in a really wonderful place in East London. It's Cloud's house, actually, Passing Clouds, and it was good fun that, but. I just finished doing my presentation, and I got this message on the phone, Max is dead. And then I got a second one, Max is dead. Because two of the key people who were involved with that were a couple of ladies, one from Switzerland, one from the blonde girl from Warsaw. And she was actually fronting for Stuart Swerdlow, which is why Stuart Swerdlow was... in Warsaw, I think it was Warsaw, and they were dealing with this German publisher lady, very attractive, very nice lady, and she was going to publish a lot of the stuff that of the Basis Project. But my stuff's long form anyway, but that's another thing. So she was a lady that Max was staying with. So he died at, I think, 4 o'clock. Now the point about this is he died the second time. And then that's a whole different ball game. And then I got a message from this other lady where they were going to try and revive him. And so I've been selling these books. I'd sold out of these books by John Irwin. And John Irwin is one of the first publicly known, what we would call, and it's completely wrong, super soldiers. So I needed to get back to get a new supply of books. And strangely, at this time, Stuart, I think, whoever runs his website, put a message out saying there is a British researcher who has got the naive or other aspirations of trying to revive Max, which meant that Stuart knew that Max was dead. And they were trying to revive him. So that didn't happen. And by the time I got back, which was about 10 o'clock that night, so that would have been 4 hours later, he was definitely dead then. It didn't work. But the fact that they were trying to revive him and had a potential means of doing so sort of could be a subject to talk about operating warfare beyond death. That kind of thing, because that's what happened with.
Okay, and let me just interject on this for a second. Let me put my camera on. Let me interject on that for just a moment. Going back when Max did pass away, there was confusion. There was an announcement that he died, and then there was and then Miles came on. I think it was like Facebook. He was communicating with people with Facebook, doing videos, and he said, "No, he's not dead. They're trying to revive him." Now, there's also and Vanessa Bates has confirmed this with me. There was a ritual that happened where they were trying to take his soul. This is what I'm hearing. They're trying to take his soul and put it in milk or wine because the soul can live in milk and wine, apparently. And Sarah Rachel Adams was on the phone call for that, and they've talked about that before. I mean, Taj has talked about that. I believe they even might have discussed it on Sean Atwood's show when he interviewed Taj and Sandra Deroy. So anyway, I just want to interject that there was this kind of, and then, you know, of course, you know, his body was there for like 6 hours or more, and before that, I mean, there's just a lot of things that happened that, again, we can go through all the questions of things that don't make sense surrounding his death. But let me continue here.
John Irwin, way back in 1957. So anyway, Max didn't make it, and one of the ladies concerned I had a...
And that is something that Miles does a lot. Like he'll bring in John Irwin or John Irwin's story, his military experience, where he has a knowledge or a story, alleged story of having a soul, like, you know, learning about what the soul is and how it goes into the body and out of the body and all this kind of stuff, which really has nothing to do with the passing of Max. And this is what bothers me about Miles. I said it was going to be pretty like calm and not objective, but I have to share with you, because this is the reason why we're all open dialogue here. We're all talking about what's happening here. I'm going to share with you what I really think, what my gut instinct is about this. And it feels like, you know, maybe even, and let me theorize this, because there was this weird mass communication of like whether he was alive or not alive, and there was Stuart Swerdlow getting mad about it and all this other kind of stuff, and there's this shroud about that time period of when he was officially you know, announced that he had passed away or not passed away, kind of makes people wonder what the hell's going on. And so, you know, there's been the ritual thing. There's been all these stories about what happened in that passage of time. And now, you know, in 2024, Miles is throwing a spin on it and throwing out, you know, John, you know, the other guy, what he just said. So it just, his story gets blended into this as a possibility of that, basically that clusterfuck that just happened. John Irwin.
A discussion with later one of the Polish people. She was one of the group trying to bring him back. And she then explained what happened and what she was personally involved with going to retrieve him. And that's another thing. So that's a sort of short, long, very winded.
Right. So, I mean, I guess we can use this as a, you know, kicking off point for the conversation, because...
Oh, you're welcome, Rosalind R. And, you know, I'm going to do Super Soldier Weekends all through the summer. So it's going to be a topic here for the summer for Not My Rabbit Hole. Yeah, I'm wanting to, like, go over all of this and look into the new stuff.
As why would they want to go after somebody like that? He was involved in a program, Project Oak Tree, you know, where they were essentially a breeding program where they had surrogate mothers, but it was these children were being born underground in a military base and into like sort of a super soldier program. And I know that, you know, that branches out into so many different areas, but maybe you could give like your 40,000 foot view about like what's happening there and what's actually like the reality.
Well, the bottom line is I've been looking at the UFO thing since I've been about 5. And clearly I'm in the program. I'm in some kind of a program, but you don't spend your entire life doing this. So you don't have a whole lot of people trying to pump you off and all that sort of stuff. But the bottom line is cutting to the chase. 1994, I was involved with a brilliant researcher called Lisa McKenna Williams, and she had met a bloke in her research thing in East London, and he was had a story about being a British in a security guard in a British base in Berkshire where they were making aliens. So this was the first time that, and this all happened. Also, I mean, this sort of was happening at the same time the X-Files had just started to come out. And the kind of stuff that he was talking about was sort of very similar to that. And also, a lot of the stuff that he was talking about was almost identical to the kind of stuff, that drawings and stuff that came out on Dulce, i.e. breeding chambers. I think one of my mugs and one of my logos is actually stage 2 of what they called a programmed generated life form. So there was another source of information which I have phone calls with people, and then they said, oh yeah, well, we were making these generated life forms in one of the British bases just near Stonehenge, Boscombe Down and Porton Down. Porton Down is one of the main labs. And she said that for the lunar base. So Britain was making program generated life forms which could be controlled for the British lunar.
Okay, so I'm going to stop that there. And did I put it in the chat if you want to listen to the whole... No, I haven't. So let me put this in the chat so that if you want to listen to the entire episode at your own leisure, you can. And let me see. Trying to. Come on. Give me just a second here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to just put this in the chat. And again, I will do my best to get these links in the description of this video as well, so that they'll be there for you too, because, you know, we're all wanting to watch and research. This is kind of really more like a highlight show of what's out there. What we can still look at, like what the new stuff is that the new material on the James Casbolt, the follow up of what is going on with him. I thought there was something else. Book notes, autobiography. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, I want to show a compilation. I did a deep dive last night, yesterday. It wasn't really last night. I did it in the afternoon. It was like 11 a.m. on my Rumble channel. I went over that Basis 31 interview that Miles Johnston did of Max. And now this is kind of interesting. It's a combination of my own editing, some clips, and then also the... when you use when you use StreamYard to do your broadcasts, once you've streamed your stream, it gets, archived on their software. And then you can have them make clips. You can have AI make clips. So some of these clips is like what the AI put together. And then I just made a compilation of them in a story narrative, basically kind of capturing the highlights or the things that I covered in this Rumble broadcast. And so I'm going to air that right now. I'm going to show you that video because I just premiered it earlier today. And I'm gonna, like, the name of the show on Rumble is Max Spears the Basis Interview Clips, but it's like the Basis 31 interview is the name of it. So let's play it.
Yeah, Basis 31, Basis 37, take 1, take
31.
1.
Interesting. You said 31.
I'm gonna show some footage that is not really been seen very much. It's an interview that Miles Johnston did of Max Spears. And it's like one of the first interviews. They had already, the event in Henderson, Nevada, the big Super Soldier Summit where all the super soldiers, like the big boom happened, where that infamous interview of Carrie Cassidy and James Casbolt.
Since that time, of course, Max was assassinated in Poland. And I said, and I promised for Sarah, and I promised for Vanessa, we'd never put this interview out. However, looking at the interview, Max is saying some very important things. He's fighting the alcohol. He's making statements. And I think after all this time, it is now time to show them. Now, we're all grown up, we're all adults. The debate is whether it should ever be shown. Well, after all this time, I think that what he had to say and what we spent so much time trying to say and record, it should be shown in the context that we all knew that he was drunk, he has things to say, get over it, and let's listen to what he has to say.
They're trying to make the male and the female blend together to have the ultimate slave.
Is that because they don't rebel or they don't have?
Well, if you have both together, then it's just efficiency. It's just being efficient. Because
you're not wanting them to reproduce because you're producing them anyway.
Absolutely, exactly.
And that's what the cyborg programmable life forms
came from. Yes, principally, but not specifically the PLFs that you're talking about. But yes, there has to be an element of an emotional body going through the center, because there has to be some sort of human spirit, because you have to be able to manipulate, because you have to say everything is done. Everything that is done now on compassion, and you have to if you want to manipulate now, or if they want to manipulate, you've got to say, "Oh, I feel sorry for you. You know, I feel sorry for you. I know you feel this is."
So
bad.
you can then use the emotion weapon.
Yes. So you have to. You're right. So you make sure you infuse that in between the androgyny. Then perfect slave. There's your secret.
Okay, and this is really, I find this conversation, this part of the interview, really out of this entire footage that I discovered on this interview with Max Spears, that this part is interesting in relation to like what has happened today, what is going on politically around transgender sports, and the arguments that are taking place on across the globe, basically.
You're saying, could you explain that?
Well, Leonardo da Vinci,
yes,
is an anagram,
yes,
for draconian devil.
Draconian devil being reptilian alien.
Well, so you have a hierarchy for sure, right? Of course, everything in
so a draconian devil is a ranking.
Well, devil.
Caroline, a bit more. There, that's nice. Well, we're still rolling. Hopefully, yeah.
You're rolling?
Yeah.
Oh no. You have to edit that part out.
I have no idea what it is. Do you want to talk about what just happened? You don't want to talk about what just happened?
Yeah.
Lay it on the line.
Okay.
Because you're suffering.
I get very upset when there's cameras pointed at me, because I think that there were perhaps times when I was younger, when there were cameras in front of me, that made me feel uncomfortable.
Say something. I'm trying to say something. Now listen. So, per se.
I'm trying to say something. Now listen. This was Max's interview, not hers. All right? Now she's taken over. I'm trying to say something. Now listen.
You've achieved a lot energetically, but you gained a lot because you did a lot of good karmically on different universes. You would be more than a star.
Now, maybe, you know, she wanted to come up and be next to him and get cuddle up and everything because they're in this loving relationship, but she's very much like the caregiver. Like she shows concern for him because he's not okay, right?
Sure.
I can open that.
Yeah. I like dark light though. Miles.
Yeah.
I'd rather dark light, if that's all right.
Hopefully it won't blow too much. Oh, yeah, just keep
I'm willing to spill the beans. So.
And just at the last minute, he flipped out and started to growl and started to get very angry.
I think they're talking about Eva Moore, who had I know she had a show on Revolution Radio when I was on Revolution Radio at the same time. And she was married to Bill Brockbrader, who was on the America's Most Wanted FBI watch list for dodging, he's a sex offender and he had not checked in. He had sexually assaulted his niece. And so that's another background in this scandal, and that scandal that connects to Revolution Radio. Leaved crown, around him. There's this Roman type, like I guess the Romans did this. The Romans were pedophiles. They were the fall of Rome. They were sexual deviants, basically, using this kind of thing being done to children, specifically male, within these elitist families. This is what Max is talking about, and he's basically saying, let's be real here. He's basically saying it's starting with his teachers in the school system. So go back even further when he talks about how, he felt that there were cameras on him when he was a child when there shouldn't have been one. That feeling of what's happened to him. I think there's a larger picture to what's happened to Max, perhaps, that he was abused as a little boy. And when you've had this happen to you, you've basically, if what he's saying is what they do and what's happened, then he's had his energy siphoned by people who sucked it from him when he was a child. That has to have some sort of trauma, that has to make you drink when you're going to be interviewed. So that's on my Rumble channel, and there's reasons why it's on my Rumble channel, because of the nature of the things that are discussed on it. But I did do a compilation of it. And again, just so you know, I'm not just on YouTube, and there are definitely going to be things that will be on Rumble that won't be on YouTube ever, probably. So if you're following my content and you're following this content as well, please do. If you're on Rumble, if you're not on Rumble, get on Rumble. But subscribe to my account, because I will have a lot of things there. And now that I have graduated and I'm getting ready, I'm going to go for my MFA. I got hired as a senior reporter at the Collegian. I'm super excited about that. And I'm excited to build my journalism portfolio even more. So I'm really doing it now. I know I'm still running for a student paper. And I was able to work on staff. They hire so many students. They actually hire them for the paper. So I went in an interview and I sent in my portfolio that I have so far and my resume, and I got hired as a senior reporter for next semester. So I'm super excited. I start in August, and I'm still tutoring Anthro 1. I tutor biology, anthropology at the City College. So as long as I'm a student, which I am, I can work both places. So I'll be working 2 part-time jobs, and then I'm going to be going for my MFA, and then and I went to school for some of this stuff, so hopefully I'm making better videos. I got a DJI Osmos Pocket 3 vlogger camera to do some of because I took 2 filmmaking classes while I was in college, and so I'm playing around with that. And but anyways, I am on TikTok too. And then still there TikTok's in the balance, right? Yeah, I'm sure that the tariffs with China didn't really help TikTok. We have not settled it yet, so it still might go away. But I'm planning on live streaming probably tomorrow, maybe even on TikTok. I've been wanting to get back on TikTok. But anyways, here I'm going to give you the entire, as I ramble on, the entire show from yesterday that I did those highlights from. If you want to watch it on the Rumble channel, please do, and please subscribe to me if you haven't already. And if you haven't already subscribed to Not My Rabbit Hole with Terry Joyce, please do, because I'm so excited. I had to get that degree. That my last semester was crazy, and I wasn't able to do much content here on my Not My Rabbit Hole channel, and I miss doing it. And I miss talking about James Casbolt. I miss talking about Max Spears and the UFO stuff. And I got a special guest coming up real soon. He's over in Contact in the desert, but Ben the J.R. Porter is coming to Fresno. He's visiting me here from the UK, and we're going to spend a few days together here in Fresno, California, and I'm going to show him around Fresno, and we'll be going to different locations and stuff like that. So I should have some interesting footage. Also, I am going to do a little plug. If you do want to support the channel, Not My Rabbit Hole, that's where you can do it, the little ticker tape. My PayPal is hollywoodhempress@gmail.com. And there's my Venmo, my Cash App, and all that stuff too. Just a shameless plug for a second, but hey, everybody does it, right? So, I think that's, now I know I plugged for myself, but I'm not leaving quite yet. I still have one final point to make tonight on the topic of Super Soldier, is how it has influenced a lot of people on the internet, and I'm not sure if it's all good. There's definitely, I think, all right, this is my opinion, all right, I think James Rink doesn't really vet people, that they hit all the bullet points of like the Super Soldier folklore. Come on in. Yeah, you might be able to speak at one of our events that nobody shows up to. I know I'm being shitty, but I'm a comedian. I gotta criticize things. All right, so let me get this out of here. What I want to show you, I found a pretty recent Super Soldier Talk Jimmy Payne interview that was re-uploaded by a channel, a guy who goes by Richard Bruce. All right. Now let me share this. And I got to give you the backstory about who Richard Bruce is. Just a second. Hi, Raven. Oh, yeah, you agree. Love it. Thank you. Okay. Max Spears. Okay, so James Rink, a lot of you already know who James Rink is, but I know James Rink also going back to my Revolution Radio days. And Richard Bruce, I'm going to show you a little bit who Richard Bruce is in a second. Richard Bruce is a guy that I found, I was looking up individuals on YouTube, and Richard Bruce came up. There was a whole Vice did a whole thing on targeted individuals, and he's one of the people. And he says that he's targeted because he's been outing or showing movie stars shape-shifting and things like this during their movies. And so he's done reptilian videos, and he lives in LA, and he lives in a motorhome, and he drives around. And anyway, we're going to watch a little bit of him too tonight, so you can just kind of get a feel. But he talks about James Rink and everybody as if they're real. He's also a Christian, so he's merged this Christianity with this, super soldier stuff that's also spiritually based. That's a whole thing about the reptilians being the snake in the Bible, and the draconian, and there's this whole correlation that's happened out there in all of this. And that's my point. We're just looking at that, just looking at how this like how James Casbolt, coming on the scene, and everybody else coming on the scene, this whole super soldier bam, boom, bam, almost like Marvel Comics mythology, where they name drop Kevin Spacey several times. But anyways, I'm going to play a little bit. Okay, I'll stop. Let me just play this. Oh, I should probably change my banner to fair use. Here we go. All right, so I don't want this part. I don't need the opening. Okay, here we go.
Thank you all. So let's start with, I guess I was already on Michael. So he is a scientist, pilot, inventor, physicist, and a contactee. In his younger years, he was employed by a DoD contractor on a missile and satellite system software development program, and as well as exotic energy research. In the summer of 2001 in Phoenix, he had a 12.
So he's giving the credits of Jimmy Payne, but here, I think, let's go back a little bit more. Wait, here we go.
You didn't know. And I have two special guests here, but today, before you all put comments in there, why we're not letting Michael talk enough, the show is for Jimmy Payne. Michael is joining me.
He looks really different to me right now, and even the way he presents himself seems different than he did when I talked about him on the Okies Weird Story documentary. And I'm going to pull that up here just to kind of compare in a second, but I want to just show you a little bit more.
Help ask questions. But Michael, I know you have a very amazing background. You've been on the show here a couple times already, and I wanted
like this guy. He kind of reminds me of one of those fringe marijuana activist guys that hang around, at the 420 shows. It's like, hey man, Michael O. Sedona wearing a green hat. It's like, it is a little stereotypical.
Thank you for coming on here short notice.
I'm sure this guy smokes pot. I smoke pot too, but I'm sure this guy does. And I don't need to wear a green hat to smoke weed, but I'm pretty sure he smokes weed.
I think I probably dialed about 25 different people, and you were the only one that said yes. So this was meant for you, and for you too, listeners. Also, thank you for joining us. Those of us on the live stream and those of us post the live stream. Thank you all. So let's start with, I guess I was already on Michael. So he is a scientist, pilot, inventor, physicist, and a contactee. In his younger years, he was employed by a DoD contractor on a missile and satellite system software development program, and as well as exotic energy research. In the summer of 2001 in Phoenix, he had a 12-minute first-hand encounter with pale-skinned 8-foot Cruxians from the Crux constellation who uploaded 5 exabytes.
Hi, Karen. Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, it's the topic tonight, right?
Data into his pineal gland, which gives Michael the ability to answer any question when asked. Well, maybe not like future, right? You don't know the future, or you do.
probabilities. It's all math.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am so tempted to ask you questions about the elections. Oh my gosh! Oh my God! I probably shouldn't have said that. Don't answer.
But this is a real. I mean, like, and again, I'm trying really hard to be kind, but this is a real community. And when I talk about how, what Miles Johnston, and then there's Max, and there's James, and then everything else, and then we come down to here. It's like, well, what part of this is the real truth? Like, what part of it has been fantasized, fabricated, made sensational, like Marvel comics? Because we all want that, right? We want it to be fantastic. And my argument with James Frank is, I think that it's just too much. It's just anything is up there, or anything's for grabs. There's no discernment on it. And I've made that mistake too. When I go back to my other days, if I redo it again, I would come from a different approach. But I learned a lot of stuff too now. I've gone through the gamut, and I've also gone through journalism and everything else. And I think talking about the paranormal, and I think like talking about UFOs and everything that's happening, I think there's a place for that. But I just wish this community was a little bit more asking questions. I think as humans, we have sometimes our nature is we get duped into different cults and religions and things like this. And, the UFO community, by and large, has fostered a spiritual belief. And I guess you could also maybe even coin it a New Age belief. And with all of that, within every realm of spirituality, going from Christianity to everything, it's a lot of times about money. A lot of times about money. And, not everybody's honest. I remember I used to have this jacket. I want to share this with you. I had a friend of mine named George Series. He was my roommate for a while when I was living in Hollywood. And he found this pink satin jacket, and it was the Pope, and the back of it said the Pope John Paul II tour. Like the Pope had swag. And he was selling it. It was like an 80s jacket, and he gave it to me. And I was like, oh my, I wish I still had it. It was priceless. And it was real. It was real from that particular era. And then I was invited to a show at the Actors Gang Theater in Culver City that was being produced by the comedian Paul Provenza, and it was about religion and everything. There had all these. It was kind of like almost like theater in the round. Like you went around the stage, you went to all these different booths with all these different, religions all around. And I was, there, and I wore the jacket to the event, and people were like, "Oh my God, your jacket!" They'd be like tapping. They go, "Your jacket!" And there was this area where you could go out. It was like a patio, and you can, smoke weed outside, outdoors, have a glass of wine or whatever, and talk and schmooze and everything else. And so I was up at the bar, getting a glass of wine, and Paul Provenza tapped me on the back, and he goes, "Oh my God, your jacket!" And I was like, "Oh, I know." And he goes, "I have the pin," and he had the pin of the Pope John Paul II tour. He was wearing the pin. Oh my God, it was such synchronicity. Anyways, I have to tell that story. But the bottom line is they're always going to pass out that tray for you to have a donation. So you got to look at everything in that context. You don't got to. I guess I shouldn't say you got to do something, but I recommend that we take. I even feel like it. I got duped up. I got caught up in a lot of things, and I'm not saying I don't know if reptilian people are real or not, for sure. I mean, I've never met one yet. I never met a reptile person. I've never seen anybody, shapeshift in front of me. Although I can say, and I swear to God this happened, there's somebody that I was dating that I really look up to, has nothing to do with this genre. Matter of fact, it's before I even started watching this genre. Well, after I started watching, he told me, but not when I knew him, I didn't know this. When I was really dating him, I didn't know this. But he said that he was from an Illuminati family and that he was reptilian. And he says, and I'm not the only one you've been with. And I was like, oh my God, what am I, the whore for the reptilians? It was a joke. I made that joke on stage. What am I, the whore for the reptilians? It's like, reptilians, the other white meat. You know, it's just like, I can't go, oh my God, that's absolutely not true, because I've had that experience. But this is what I say. Put it in the interesting box. Like, we don't know. I know. I tutor anthropology, all of that, right? But just put it in the interesting box. Just go. I don't say, oh no, it's absolutely not. I'm not sure if it's absolutely not. It's like, well, if it's science, let's test it. I mean, like everything on Earth has a common ancestor, according to anthropology. If they can find that common ancestor where there's that human reptile thing that happened, and you can find that common ancestor, well, that'd be a really big day in anthropology, right? So anyway, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of shit for saying this. But now, think about it. The topic of reptilian is so prevalent in our culture. Remember when it wasn't prevalent? Remember when, like, a lot of us were like watching David Icke and everything like that? We're like all into it. We're like, what? Like, you couldn't get enough reptile videos out there. You were like, what? Shape shifting? Like, looking at those videos, watching their hand shape shift. I mean, I've spent hours looking at that stuff. It's fascinating, right? And at that time, you maybe, like, you know, years. Now I can do reptile jokes almost in Clovis, California, and they know what I'm talking about, and they're laughing at the joke. And when I see that happen, that means it's hitting like a certain element of recognition in culture just naturally. And Clovis is not like, ooh, highfalutin, you know, hey, we're LA, we're hipsters. No, we're talking farmers sometimes. You know, Clovis is known for being, they have the rodeo there. All right, it's cowboy town, and if cowboys are laughing at it, then it's gone pretty much into like this mainstream discussion. Okay, I just want to say that. All right, so let's watch a little bit more of the super soldier talk.
Well, we can, I tell you what, maybe we could do a show later about that. But these ETs encourage Michael to share a message that humanity needs to grow up and stop self-dividing and conquering. His book, Wake Up and Do Something, shares more of these details. So he was also you're in a band, Element 115. So,
Element 115 was cool because we had an alien drummer, and nobody's ever done a band with an alien drummer. And so, yeah, it was very, very cool. And it was my family that was in the band, plus the alien drummer. So if you're curious, if that piqued your curiosity, element115theband.com. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh, wow. And so Element 115, is that what Bob Lazar was getting his hand on?
In fact, what the band was going to be called Alter Ego. And then I looked and found that there was 100 bands in the United States named Alter Ego. And so we were sitting in the studio trying to figure out what we're going to do next, and I saw the video of Bob Lazar. I saw the spine of the VHS video that said, you know, Bob Lazar, and I thought, well, what about Element 115? And the whole room kind of thought for a second, went, that rolls. Element 115, yeah, we like it. So then next thing you know, I got challenged into making an alien drummer. And the alien drummer came into being, you know, in a really, really for 2005, it was very advanced, and we had a lot of fun with it. With the band, being your family and the band at the same time is really amazing. It's a great.
I part of me likes the fact that this is kind of quirky, right? Like, he's quirky to me, but I'm gravitating towards him. Like, I'm sure that if I met him if I was there in a mixer, I'd probably love to talk to him, have a great conversation with him. So it's just, I'm kind of fascinated. Anyway,
experience. I wish everybody had a chance
an alien drummer. I love it.
Wow, thank you so much, Michael. You're such an amazing person. And we even have Jimmy Payne here tonight. Jimmy, I just muted you because we're getting a little feedback. But
okay, no, this is the guy that the Bruce Ryan on YouTube, just like, he seems to idolize him. And okay, because I watch Bruce Ryan sometimes. I'm fascinated by him too, and his channel. And I found him off of Vice when they were doing a show on targeted individuals. And he talks about Jimmy Payne. And apparently, according to him, there was some sort of fallout that maybe happened between James Rink and Jimmy Payne. I'm not really up on it, but I got that a while back. That's kind of like what I picked up.
Jimmy, you there? Oh, yeah, you muted yourself. Okay, you have to. There you go.
Can you hear me? I thought I had it muted a while ago.
How are you doing today?
Real good. A little bit of rain here.
I didn't know he sounded like that. Like, how you doing? Real good. I'm out here. Like, I didn't think he would sound like that when I heard his name at first. It's like,
just getting settled.
I'm no held caffeine. I'm sorry.
In for the night. And,
I'm no caffeine from the Rio Grande. Okay.
Looking forward to for the night's show.
Absolutely. So, for audience members who do not know, Jimmy's been on the show quite a few times. I would say you're probably one of my more. I mean, I love all my guests, but you have so much information.
I love all my guests, but you are the best.
We just have. No matter how many shows we do, here's how I find out, oh, who else were you? Were you Forrest Gump too? Oh, wait, don't tell me. We'll find out. So Jimmy Payne will be speaking today about his secret mission from Vandenberg Air Force Base, where the Saturn V rockets were shot off, and this Apollo 20 mission, where he, alongside with William Rutledge, and they discovered a Oriental-looking humanoid named EBE Mona Lisa.
Okay, I just want to say, okay, interesting that he's mentioning Mona Lisa, because I was showing that Max Spears thing about the Leonardo da Vinci. In that interview, he goes into more detail about how the Mona Lisa is a painting of Leonardo da Vinci. But anyway, what was my point here? What was I going to say? Hold on, let me go back. I'll pick it up here in a second.
It was based off of, he was stationed on Mars, Titan, and the Moon.
Okay, wait. Hold on, go back.
No matter how many shows we do, here's how I find out, oh, who else were you? Were you Forrest Gump too? Oh, wait, don't tell me. We'll find out. So Jimmy Payne will be speaking today about his secret mission from Vandenberg Air Force Base, where the Saturn V rockets were shot off.
I went back too far.
And this Apollo 20 mission, where he, alongside with William Rutledge, and they discovered a Oriental-looking humanoid named
that's it.
Mona Lisa.
Oriental, wrong. That is a piece of nomenclature that it's just a reference that's offensive. It's really, you should stop calling people Oriental. They're Asian. A person might be Asian looking, and even that's got a large spectrum. Oriental, out. Oriental, no bueno. Stop that, James.
Jimmy claims the Apollo 20 footage on YouTube is real. Super Soldier Jimmy Payne, aka Dallas, was in the secret space program from 1959 to 1996. During this time, he was a shuttlecraft pilot for the Tall White Warriors at Area 51 and participated in time travel missions with the Montauk Boys at Camp Hero. He also recalls working for Wayland Corporation, where he
for me, okay, just listening to this, and I'm a skeptic. I'm gonna just put it right out there. Right, it's a lot. It's a lot of credits. You know, it's like Boom and this and Mars and the Moon and then Montauk, and it's just like, wow. I have a problem with that many things from one person. and there's no way of really corroborating that information as being a fact other than their own testimony. It's just a lot. Like, if you're gonna like lie, just lie a little bit. Don't lie so much that you're like, oh, come on, man, come on. Now, again, a lot of the people that follow James Rink also believe that Captain Mark Richards is legitimate when he's in prison. So there's, yeah, I'm in prison. I masterminded the murder of, someone who was like my best friend, but I'm practically, I'm almost Charles Manson, but I'm also in the secret space program, and I'm in prison unfairly because I'm really doing secret message, No, I'm not having it. I'm not. All right. So
encountered a xenomorph at LV-426, which the movie Aliens was based off of. He was stationed on Mars, Titan, and the Moon. On Mars, he has seen a broken statue of a giant face of a humanoid on a mission in 1974. So this would have been before the Apollo 20 mission. Well, wait a minute, Jimmy. Didn't you say you were like the first person in outer space? Oh, no, wait, that would have been the Germans. But the first NASA astronaut.
I was the first one that orbited. Should have been a chimpanzee by the name of Ham from Holloman Air Medical. That chimp did do an orbit, but I went prior to his orbit. And he is out at the New Mexico Space Museum. His skeleton's on display, but his flesh, once he was deboned after he died, is buried out by the flagpole. And my craft, called the Little Joe.
Okay, so I'm just giving you a touch of this. Again, I took a look, and this is in relation to the folklore of the super soldier stuff. Now, there was something else. I had it pulled up, and I was just ready to show you, and now I lost it again. Okay, so first I want to show the guy whose channel this is from. He's the one who uploaded that video and is a fan of Jimmy Payne. Now, and this guy was on Vice, and he claims to be a targeted individual for making reptilian videos, and this video is titled Reptilian Bitterness Trap. And I'm going to show you a little bit of his video. Okay, let me do this again. And then I'm going to not spend a whole lot of time here, but
what can you do? And so
this whole thing fascinates me. That's why I'm playing it. I mean, come on. It's like the longest time goes by here.
Yeah, you the bitch. I fuck you up. Fuck every ass little boy. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out the car. I'll break your fucking jaw, you fat man.
Like, this is like happening into the car next to him, right?
You the bitch. Fuck you, bitch. You the bitch. Get out the car. Fuck you. Get out the car. I'll break your jaw, you fucking hoe. Go back to your country, you fucking bitch. I'm dealing with trash like you,
Well, guess if I'm having a hard time, it could be worse. I'm like that guy in Ready Player One. I just gotta do my job. Oh, I like the M16 or the M4 that guy has on his motorcycle. See, in Lost, that's a police cop, by the way. See, the police need to have a machine gun on the. That's full auto, by the way. I'm pretty sure. Because they need it, man. Because the gangs here, holy crap, dude. You know, see see when I come down here to downtown LA, oh man, I mean it's like a different world from the valley. But even so, there's so many guns, you can't believe it, dude. And so all the people that are criminals and lawbreakers, they're all armed to the teeth with full auto, okay? Or you know.
Anyway,
talking about it because
he drives and he talks about a lot.
What can easily happen is that
it's what fascinates me is that he has B-roll too. Like he'll walk around, he'll be in his car, and then he has like B-roll, like this. Okay, watch.
You're gonna do what he asks you to do, paying attention.
Here we go. Yeah, this is.
I'm not saying you should.
I want you to see this part.
A bitterness in the mind can occur. Okay, let's just say something really bad happened to me, and there were some people involved. I knew who they were, and I may not have felt satisfied that justice was done. Okay, but you know, whatever the case might be. I mean, you know, I'm not talking about people that like, you know, rob you, and then next thing you know, you see them driving down the street laughing, and they're looking at your face laughing because they know you can't prove it. I'm not talking about that. Okay, I'm not saying you should, you know, watch out for that. Okay, because but God says vengeance belongs to me, and we know from other places in Scripture that vengeance is something that we have to leave off for now if we're going to make it into the kingdom during this perilous time of showing God that you're going to do what he asks you to do, paying attention carefully to his words in the authorized King James Bible. Okay? Do not be fooled by anybody saying that it's not true. It is. It's God's pure word, and it's only God's, no matter who says, the version has some stuff this doesn't have, and somebody, okay? Make a planet, write a book. What's harder, okay? An accurate book, okay? Webster's can put out their dictionary, says everything they want and nothing they don't. How much more can God, who can make a planet and everything on it, including you and me making this video and you watching it, okay? Very important, because the first thing Satan wants to do is to get you separated from believing that God's word is true, accurate, and able to be relied on for finding out what is going on here. Okay? It's really important, friends. Now, let's just say that you know, some people, you know, were responsible for, you know, something tragic happening. You know, maybe somebody in my family was hurt, okay, and there was no taking it back, and they were permanently hurt or something like that, you know, and there's a lot of cause.
So he's a follower of Super Soldier Talk, and lives like, and here's where he gets to the B-roll here.
But there is also a holding on to that bitterness, friends, that for instance, in this one case that I saw where a woman came before the judgment, that she was not able to enter the kingdom because she had not forgiven her husband. And I don't know what the circumstances are. Like, did he, you know,
the B-roll, like apparently he goes someplace later on this area, but there's all these dolls that he shows while he's talking.
You know, did he profusely apologize or whatever? But you know, so her husband had apparently mistreated her, or something happened, and she divorced him. But she was found guilty for not forgiving him. But you know, that bitterness can.
So he has. I mean, like, when you're including B-roll like that, even though the B-roll doesn't really match what he's talking about, it's kind of odd being placed in there in a weird way. But he knows how to do B-roll. Like, he knows how to like break up his videos and present them in a certain way. That way, it's kind of impressive. I think that's why he's more fascinating to watch. Although the topic is also fascinating. Now, one thing that I do want to do before I go is also show you a little bit of what James Rink used to look like back here in this video, which I did a long time ago. Let me see if I James Rink and what he used to look like back then. And this was excerpts from, like, I was doing Oki's Weird Stories documentary, which I recommend watching, of his on the Super Soldier program. But this is kind of like what, not too long ago, this is what James Casbolt looked like. His face was a lot fuller. And he was quite younger looking. I guess we're all getting. This is James Rink to have the most popular YouTube channel about super soldiers, because he's completely bypassed Carrie Cassidy and Miles Johnston.
Experiencers from around the world. The guests on James' show all claim to be victims.
Okay,
of the
I'm going to skip through this part, and then I want to go to where he explains the theory and the different LARPing of what it's all about. Okay, so here's the plan, the made up story. What this guy does is that he studies the culture of the super soldier program, and with all the different stories, he takes it, he maps it all out of how it all evolves and how it all matches, and then he creates his own story, goes to James Rink, asks for James Rink charges $200 for like a hypnosis and this and that to bring your memories up. And then I guess it's like some sort of like counseling or whatever. And apparently he's booked in advance, because this guy makes his appointment, and James Rink cannot talk to him for he makes the booking a month out. From I'm saying a month ahead from when he, you know what I'm saying. Okay, here we go.
And get onto James' show and share it with his community. And that's how I finally found an angle that compelled me enough to make a video about this topic. And the angle was to become a secret space program whistleblower myself.
Let's rock.
So if my goal still sounds too vague to you, I set up a criteria for how I was going to accomplish it. A set of rules, if you will. 1. Make up a compelling story about my time in the secret space program, which has to follow the established lore of the conspiracy. 2. Get onto a major platform within the community as a whistleblower and share my experience. I developed this criteria after thinking what's required to become an SSP whistleblower. Obviously, evidence of being in the secret space program isn't necessary at all. All that's needed is a story which follows the lore, and, after that, I just have to appear on a major platform and share it. I decided that I would aim to appear on James's channel. Like I said, it's the most popular.
Hey, Vapes for Christ is here. Hi, welcome. Glad you showed up. All right, here we go.
YouTube channel in the community, and it's even had the illustrious Captain Randy Kramer on it twice. Unlike Captain Randy Kramer or Corey Good, I was unlikely to get my own show on Gaia.com, so I settled for a more manageable but still difficult task. To increase the difficulty, I chose not to use my own YouTube channel as a way to influence my way onto the show. Therefore, I needed to find a way to ingratiate myself with James, and hope that he decided to invite me on as a guest himself. Before I did that, I needed to create a compelling story. In order to craft my narrative, I began to study the plethora of interviews available on Jay's channel, as well as the SSP lore extensively.
Okay, open up your textbooks. It's time for me to start explaining the lore behind the secret space program. Now I'm going to try and do this as fast as possible. Okay, so it started right before World War II when the Nazis were interested in mysticism.
Before World War II, the Nazis, who were interested in mysticism and alternative views,
And I find that interesting because it goes right into the Nazis, right? And the Uberman theory. So this is the beginning of it. And the mysticism aspect.
the planet for fantastical powers. They found Maria Orsak, a medium and leader of the Vril Society, who channeled Nordic and Draco reptilians who
How many times does Miles Johnston drop the Vril Society?
offered the Nazis the thematics behind anti-gravity technology and UFOs. The Draco reptilians told the Nazis about ancient alien technology hidden in Antarctica, and in 1938...
And here we go with the Antarctica again. I know I'm interrupting, but I'm just bullet pointing because you guys know what I'm talking about. Wasn't Miles Johnston's most recent video where he's like, the whole problem that we have right now in human history, it goes all the way back to the Antarctic. So... I mean, there might be something up with the Antarctic because we have, what was it? I don't know. We've had certain people in major politicians going there, and anyway.
The Nazis traveled there. With this newfound tech, the Nazis created the Die Glocke, aka the bell, which was capable of space.
I mean, it's not Schwabenland, right? Isn't that the entrance to Schwabenland in the inner Earth?
Time travel. In 1942, the Nazis were already in space. There they built a base on the dark side of the moon. And by 1950, the Nazis were on Mars. Despite having access to this advanced alien tech, the Germans still lost World War II because apparently the Germans who possessed the technology did not agree with Hitler's regime, so there was a split.
The new Schwabenlanders didn't want to support Hitler at the end of the war because they considered him insane and the final solution. So there was already a split.
In SSP lore, the Nazis capable of space and time travel became the Fourth Reich, and they pissed off to Antarctica in space while refusing to provide any support to the Third Reich Nazis during the war. Anyway, the evil globalists, i.e. the Cabal and the Illuminati or something, engaged in a Cold War against the Space Germans. Meanwhile, the Space Germans were also fighting the Draco reptilians and various alien life forms in space. The Antarctic/Space Germans would be responsible for abducting people to serve in joint black projects between themselves, the Cabal, aliens, and pretty much anybody with any power at all. This was the beginning of the secret space program. By the 1960s, the Space Germans created Notwaffen, aka Dark Fleet, and began an aggressive expansion out into the solar system, setting up bases on moons around Saturn, the Kuiper belts, and etc. Capable of time travel, the Space Germans also traveled back in time to settle on planets around the galaxy.
Now there's 3 billion people.
All right, so I'm gonna. That's kind of the background. You guys know it. I'm gonna skip to
where. If you guys want to watch this video at any point, if you've never seen it, it's I did it back in. I did a couple of years ago, and I'll share it here, and then I'll try to make sure that I remember to share it in my description after I get done with this video, and go from there. I'm gonna respond to some of your guys' stuff here. Again, if you're coming in later, I recommend watching the beginning of this video where I go into showing what James Casbolt is up to and what's out on him on the internet now. And I hope you find those clips and the things that I've shown to be interesting to you and everything. And again, I'm going to be doing Super Soldier weekends here on Not My Rabbit Hole while I'm on my summer break. I did graduate with a BA in digital journalism, but I got accepted into the MFA program for creative nonfiction writing. So I'm super excited. And I'm also going to be a senior reporter for the Collegian, and I'm still tutoring. And so right now I got time to really focus on my content here. And so please share, and subscribe. And, I've seen a lot of you here. If you would like to donate or support my channel, that's where you can do it. And I'm going to some of you guys have been speaking a lot here in the chat. And so I want to acknowledge Lanessa. Thank you. It's been a while. So nice to see you. A lot of you guys, because I'm talking about James Casbolt, and I know you guys like this
we're into this topic, but it's good to see you guys show up and be in the chat this evening. And you guys have all had a good conversation. Karen McDonald, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. And so yeah, you guys are talking. Okay, I am going to say goodnight. I've been going for like about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Today is June 1st, 2025, just to mark the date here. And I'm going to play my new theme song. I created this on AI. I've got different versions, so maybe we can pick the best one, but here's one of them that I chose to do. And thank you so much for tuning into Not My Rabbit Hole tonight, and I will see you next time.
He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game, sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole.